So we're appealing to you, it's a big appeal to you that you should, hello? Hello, can you? Yeah, okay. Good evening. Sorry about that. I think that there was some small disruption. I couldn't hear myself. Thank you very much for your time. And good evening. This is Good Evening Ghana. And we are live at 17 minutes past 9 o'clock. We're here tonight. This is the last week before it turns Christmas, isn't it? And at Christmas, we offer gifts to our friends and dear ones. So look for a gift for me for Christmas, because from next week, we will be in December. And these days, Christmas starts on the 1st of December, doesn't it? Okay, thank you very much. Tonight, we have an interesting program, controversial in some aspects, and we have to walk a tightrope in certain aspects because we're going to talk about matters that are in court, etc., etc. We will be taking you back to the famous speech that the Asante Hene gave at the Institute of Professional Studies last Friday. We will show you aspects of the speech, and we will run some commentary on it. The Venerable Chief went to town, if you like, on some things that concern him about the development of our country. In many of the things that he said, we thoroughly agree with him. He had occasion to speak about the referendum, about which we'll be speaking tonight. And then also, many of our viewers on last Tuesday wrote back to us and we're wondering what the role of Mr. Kwame Nkrumah was in our editorial of last Tuesday. They didn't quite understand the point we were making with Kwame Nkrumah. We'll go back to that then and show you why we played Professor Kwame Nkrumah's tape and how it relates to the district assembly elections and how it relates to our campaign for a yes vote on this program. So that's also coming up. And then we also heard this morning the breaking story about Soft Tribe, National Security, Ghana Water Company, etc., etc. We're hoping to have somebody from the Ghana Water in the studio, but I think they can make it. They'll make it on Thursday, I believe. But we do have here in the studio a letter that was signed by the chairman of Soft Tribe, chairman and founder of Soft Tribe, Mr. Herman Chinri Hesse, who signed this letter that we'll read to you, and then you can make what you may want to make out of it. We also do have a write-up that was that represents the story from the National Security and the Ghana Water Company angle. We will show you both, and then perhaps you can take a decision on it. Hopefully, on Thursday we'll have time enough to sort of deal with this Ghana Water brouhaha between Soft Tribe on one side, the Ghana Water Company and the National Security on the other side, relating to data protection and data control and sanctity of contract, and also the fiduciary responsibility of a contractee to his contractor in matters of data protection. We will deal with all of that tonight, and then you can send us your messages on Good Evening Ghana Official, and we can see it. Okay, so we start. Stephen Amoah is in the studio. I forgot to say that. Stephen Amoah is in the studio. He is the Chief Executive of MASLOC. He's our main program tonight. We're going to talk to him about everything that you've heard about MASLOC. But even before Stephen Amoah gets into the studio, as you know, there's a court case that has been widely reported involving the Honorable Stephen Amoah, who is the former MASLOC Chief Executive. And on social media this evening, we have been sent comments that Stephen Amoah has put across on the social media. So you can see that there in the middle of the screen, put in the two orange bars. It says, this is Sedina writing to Abraham Ferguson. It says, Abraham Ferguson, the matter is in court. He is a witness, referring to our guest tonight, Stephen Amoah. He says anything that he says or does that is related to the matter, he will be in contempt. He says that anything he says or does that is related to the matter, he, Stephen Amoah, our guest tonight, would be in contempt. We would also sue should he malign me. So we wait and see. So this is the Honorable Stephen Amoah writing on social media tonight in reaction to our advertised program with Stephen Amoah, who is her predecessor at MASLOC right now. As you know, Stephen Amoah is in court, and there has been media reports about some money carried in some bag, etc., that a witness is reported to have said in the court matter. So if you look on your screen again, Sedina, who is writing to Abraham Ferguson, says that the matter is in court. And he, Stephen Amoah, is a witness. Anything that he says or does that is related to the matter, he will be in contempt. we will also sue should he malign me. So we will ensure on this program, as we always do, that if you have the photograph, yes, of Sedina Tamaklo, you can put it up so that people will see her. And Honorable Lady Sedina Tamaklo, a member of the NDC, and that's her. She was in charge of MASLOC during the John Mahama era, and she's currently on trial for so many charges. So her predecessor, Stephen Amoah, is in the studio, and we will be talking to Stephen Amoah about that. But that's interesting. But as you know, on this program, we do not allow people to malign other people without evidence, and we do not allow people to breach the rules of court. They will not be allowed, our guests are not allowed to prejudge a matter that is before a judge of a court of competent jurisdiction here in Ghana. And so when Stephen Amoah comes into the studio, you can be sure and you can guarantee that all the questions we'll ask him, all the follow-ups that we'll ask him, and all the interactions that we'll have with him will sway away from encouraging him to go in contempt of the court that is currently hearing the matter involving his company. Okay, so you can be sure of that. We will now move straight into our first matter so we can dispatch all these matters before Stephen Amoah comes, now that there's high anticipation for Stephen Amoah's interview. He himself, Stephen Amoah, has been accused of embezzling 1.1 million Ghana cedis because it is reported that he used 1.1 million Ghana cedis to audit a 2 million cedi contract, and his accusers felt that it was tantamount to embezzlement. So Stephen Amoah will be responding to that. But beyond that, he'll be telling us what MASLOC does. Many of us do not really connect to what MASLOC does. We don't know that MASLOC really operates like a bank, and it gives small-scale loans to people to help them develop their small business. And if you have a business idea, you can go to MASLOC and let it work. Stephen Amoah believes that MASLOC has not worked in the past because of bad leadership and bad policy direction. He's doing something different at MASLOC now that he wants to tell us, but he would also answer the questions on corruption. If there is opportunity and it's within the legal remit, he will tell us what is happening in court right now with the case. So that's Good Evening Ghana for you. We will go straight to discuss the Asante Hene Otumfuo Pokuwa. Before then, though, let's hear Ankalato's song. It's just 1 minute 34 seconds, and you understand why we want you to vote a yes. Here is the song again. Last Friday, the Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei was at the Institute of University of Professional Studies, I should say, and there he gave a lecture. In the lecture, he said so many different things, and over the next few weeks, we'll be serializing Otumfuo's lecture at the UPSA because everything he said was wise, coming from King Solomon, as they affectionately call him. It was very, very wise, and it spoke to the core of the issues. So tonight we have isolated 3 areas that Otumfuo spoke about. First, he spoke about the economics of the country. He talked about the relevance of free senior higher education, but indicated that that is not what voters are concerned about in the main. So we'll listen to that. And then Otumfuo talked about the role of chiefs under the 1992 Constitution. And in that, he veered in to talk about the referendum and the yes-no votes and the disagreement. And we believe that he spoke along the same lines that we have been thinking about why we should have a yes vote. So play that for you as well. And then the other matter that is also indirectly related to the referendum, the so-called winner-takes-all phenomenon that we have been crying about here on this program. The Otumfuo had occasion to talk about that as well. And we're delighted that he did, because it sort of makes our point. And tonight, we'll be appealing to all the no voters. If you know any of the NDC bigwigs, I know some of them I know, for instance, Mr. Eduji Tamaklo, and I'm going to be appealing to him for the NDC to rescind their decision of a no and join a yes so that we can have a better Ghana. And we will be saying that the Otumfuo is actually on the side of a yes, and we'll show you that analysis. So if you know any NDC person, please appeal to them. Let's rethink this position. Let's have a yes vote. It is better. This evening, I was speaking to one of my good friends, an older gentleman, and I was explaining to him why we need to have a yes. And he lived in America for a while. So he was telling me that, okay, he sort of understands my point. He was concerned that the politicking of Ghana is not healthy. And so to extend that politicking to the district level is going to be chaotic. And that's really what the no people are saying. And we understand that. But then I gave him the counter-argument is that the politicking of Ghana is unhealthy, and that, as Otumfuo put it, the opposition extremism is there because it's a winner-takes-all situation. And I told him, for instance, that whilst President Trump in the federal system of America has Washington, D.C., in California, the mayor is elected and the governor is elected as a democratic person, so he does what he wants. And because he lived in California, he could remember that the mayor is able to raise taxes, because he was also worried that where are the mayors going to get money from? And I said, well, as part of the election process, they're now going to be able to raise their own taxes. So the mayor in Teshi is going to raise his own taxes. The mayor in AMA Accra is going to raise and control his own taxes, and they can pass bylaws more effectively than bylaws are passed today. And then he got quite excited with that. He said if that is going to happen, then he thinks that is a yes vote. So it's a matter of just communicating and letting people accept that it's not about politics. It's about the future of our country. It's about how we can break the scourge of the winner-takes-all situation. As Kevin Shillington described it, the scourge of the winner-takes-all situation must be broken. The next epoch that will come to is to be campaigning for proportional representation, wherein we will no longer elect members of parliament. It will be like South Africa or like France, where when President Akufo-Addo has won 53% of the votes, his party and him will appoint 53% of the members of parliament. Every party that wins a percentage of the votes will have some members of parliament in there, so that you're not going to have an NDC and MPP parliament just running around. Because Dr. Edward Mahama has got 3% of the votes before. Sometimes he didn't win any member of parliament. Papa Kwesi Ndum gets 1% of the presidential votes. He doesn't win any parliamentary seats. Proportional representation will help. That's a matter for another conversation. After we have done the yes vote, that's where we're going to be. And so let all of us put our heads together and see how this constitution can be changed and be made better for us, for our children, those born, those yet unborn, and for our children's children. So that's our appeal after we have seen what the Asante Hene said. Let's go straight away to the University of Professional Studies. First, Otumfuo speaks about the priority of a government and what people think about when they are going to vote. That's what he said.
I have never made secret of my view that our traditional authorities were regrettably shortchanged by the 1992 Constitution and the allocation of management of the nation's resources and the process of governance. We are rarely represented. This is a nation may develop. Whatever tractions we make in foreign affairs,
Sorry, that's a slide hitch. A very, very slight one. Let's go back to the Asante Hene. When we started, we were playing for you another video that I did introduce. Forgive us for that. Let's go back to the Asante Hene, where he's talking about prioritization of a government. Free SHS, economics, etc. Otumfuo tells us what he thinks in his wise mind will play on people's mind when they are going to the vote. Here's the video.
Whatever policies a nation may develop, whatever tractions we make in foreign affairs, in science and technology, it all boils down to the one thing, the economy and the bottom line. And so it with us. Sure. We have been we've been courageous in providing free senior high school or secondary education for all. Few countries can claim such vibrant effort. But when the chips are down, it is the economy our people are going to judge us by. Sure. It is what happens in the market, what jobs we create, what infrastructure we provide that will play on their minds. And it is all about the economy. Sure.
So you heard the Asante Hene. He says that the bottom line is what will play on the people's minds in the economy. So I'm sure that he was addressing NPP politicians who have been saying that with free SHS, President Akufo-Addo is guaranteed a second term. The Otumfuo is advising that free SHS is great because not many countries can boast of it. But at the end of the day, what you do with the economy, how the economic situation works, and the bottom line, that's what plays on people as they go to the ballot box. It's not so much the free SHS, which is great, but you need to add fixing the economy of Ghana. That is why some of us have been critical of some of the things that have happened in the economy, like the banking sector collapse. Tonight is not a night for that one. But Otumfuo has said it all. Yes, free SHS is lovely. I'm a firm supporter of free SHS. I'm a firm believer of free SHS. I think President Akufo-Addo stands tall among the presidents of Ghana for having the boldness, the courage, the sensitivity, and the vision to deliver this all-important policy. But here the Otumfuo again, free SHS is good. It is enviable because many countries don't have it. But at the end of the day, you need to fix the economy of Ghana. And when people do things that don't fix the economy, when appointees of the president deviate from the presidential vision of creating a Ghana beyond aid, and they target things in the economy to pull down, then we're going to have the crisis that gets Otumfuo to release the kind of caution that he has released. 2020 election is not far away anymore. In a few days, we'll be celebrating the remarkable landslide victory of President Akufo-Addo in 2016 on December 7th. We'll be celebrating that again. But after we celebrate that, the next December 7th is voting day, and people must account for it. 100 and how many are the members of parliament? 200 and something, 275 members of parliament are going to have to account for what they've done for their stewardship over the last 4 years. President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Bawumia are going to have to come back to the people of Ghana and account for what they've done over the last 4 years. They're going to ask for the people's vote again. President John Dramani Mahama says he's regretted something. He's coming back to ask for a vote. He's going to have a running mate who's asking for the vote again. What are they going to tell the people? Ghana is the most important among all of these things I've mentioned, and the people of Ghana constitute the authority of Ghana. So the word to the wise, as they say, is enough. The Asante Hene also talked about the role of chiefs, and here he made the point about how chiefs have been ignored under the 1992 Constitution. Some people disagree with him on that, some agree with him, but he made a much more important point, which is like honey to us, because Otumfuo talked about the referendum, and he made the point that he understands why the referendum should be partisan, why political parties should be allowed to sponsor. He questioned why certain chiefs don't see that. He questioned why certain chiefs don't see why political parties should not be allowed to sponsor candidates. He also questions the government's attitude about having a whole exercise like this and ignoring the National House of Chiefs. Otumfuo was critical of the government, and rightly so, that the Ministry of Local Government seems to have done a very shoddy job in this matter. Since January 2018, when President Akufo-Addo announced this referendum, Hajia Alima Mahama and the Honorable Obi Amoah, who is one of the deputies at the ministry, and the people at the ministry, what have they been doing? What have they done so that they have not spoken to the National House of Chiefs? It is remarkable, it is shocking that the local government minister has not engaged with the National House of Chiefs on this matter, the referendum, to get their buy-in, get their understanding, get their support to educate their people. It is very shocking that Ministry of Local Government since January 2018 have not been able to achieve this. This is shocking. And Otumfuo talked about that. However, Otumfuo thinks that it should be a yes vote. He didn't say that, but hear what he said.
I have never made secret of my view that our traditional authorities were regrettably shortchanged by the 1992 Constitution in the allocation of management of the nation's resources and the process of governance. We are rarely represented on the Council of State and given token representation on the institutions like the Lands Commission. In the matter of governance, however, we only have functioning roles, even in local government, where chiefs constitute the front line of leadership. It's a matter of concern that the grave issues of national development relating to the allocation of resources and the determination of our national priorities are all determined without the engagement of our traditional leaders at any level. Sure. Given our history, our culture and tradition, the weight of accumulated wisdom embedded in our institution, it beggars the imagination that Nananum, Nime, Togbe, Na are all left as bystanders while the real issues of state are decided. Sure. I recognize that our presidents have in general tried to find their own ways of interacting with us. and these interactions have sometimes impacted upon decision making. But these acts of courtesy on their part are no substitute for a defect so glaringly and so unwise.
Sure.
It is the symptom of defect which is playing out in the unhealthy role surrounding the impending referendum, which is part of the government's attempt at the reform of local government under the 1992 Constitution.
Sure.
Local government in the modern era is only traditional governance in Western attire. How is it possible then that the central government representing the modern state and Nananom representing the traditional state could find no space for engagement for the consideration of a major reform of local government and to agree a common position before such crucial reforms were rolled out?
Sure.
If there had been such engagement, I cannot think of how anyone could have ignored the logic of the case for according our chiefs a rightful representation in the new structure. And by the same token, I cannot think of how any chief would have seen any incompatibility in the removal of the enshrined clauses in the Constitution to permit the election of metro and district chief executives or mayors, and also allow political parties to sponsor candidates for local elections.
Sure.
Because this is a matter of such momentous importance, I hope all concerned will step back and take the heat out so we can see the light in the discourse.
Sure.
Did you hear the Otumfuo statement? He said that he doesn't understand how any chief would think of it incompatible, that the entrenched clauses should be amended and that political parties should be allowed to sponsor candidates. That's the point. That's the position of the Asante-Hene. Hopefully, we can take this position to the NDC and plead with the NDC to have a U-turn, and never mind if it's another U-turn, but have a U-turn and understand the principle. I think part of it is a local government system that has not actually engaged, and Otumfuo was worried about that as well. How is it that the local government system has not engaged traditional authority? Even for you and I, how many times have you heard the local government system campaign on this matter? Is it because they have not been allocated money by the Ministry of Finance to do so? Is it because nobody is thinking about it? Is it because the people at the local government helm of affairs themselves are not particularly interested? But it is bizarre to find out that the president in his sessional address actually mentions the local government minister's name and says that he as president has done the consultations with the former president. He says that to Parliament, and that he's expecting that Haji Alima Mahama will continue the consultations. Several months down the line, the Asante-Hene complains in a public speech that the local government authority have not engaged the traditional chiefs. Maybe in some places the minister would resign. But nevertheless, the Otumfuo thinks that it's a yes vote. So please consider it. Let's hear the Otumfuo again. In the part that is isolated, that speaks directly to a yes vote.
And by the same token, I cannot think of how any chief would have seen any incompatibility in the removal of the enshrined clauses in the Constitution to permit the election of metro and district chief executives or mayors, and also allow political parties to sponsor candidates for local elections.
Sure.
Because this is a matter of such momentous importance, I hope all concerned will step back and take the heat out so we can see the light in the discourse.
Sure.
That the Bolenana will speak the same language. Opposition extremism. The way to do that is to have a certain measure of power sharing. Every country does that in the world. Everyone, name every country does that. Only Ghana, because Kwame Nkrumah and his people wanted a certain arrangement to sustain their newly born political party. Yes, the political party has been born. It has been successful. It has won several elections. It's time to go back to the drawing board and do the righteous thing. Vote yes. Let's listen to Uncle Ato. After that, Sticker, as they call him, Stephen Amoah, is in the studio. The firebrand MPP activist who is looking to be a member of parliament in the next parliament. Watch out for Sticker as a member of parliament for the Asante region in the next parliament. He's here to talk to us about MASLOC. After Uncle Ato, we take a break. Sticker is next.
If I don't see this wedding with my own eyeballs, dear, it's not me.
Church rise.
I just go into the church. Okay, let me connect my earpiece.
Now you may. Renano.
Yeah. Come and see some food stuff meat pie they are sharing here. For salam. Buffet, papa.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Umpe where? Umpe deng. Dial *315# to sign up now.
We day for you everywhere you go.
It's Christmas again. The time to be jolly. Christmas at Electroland is 3 times fun, 3 times amazing, and 3 times better. With the power of 3 of your favorite brands, Samsung, Media, and NASCO, we present to you the Electroland Triple Bronya Treat promotion. We bring you all the electronics you need at great discounts, and not only that, we're adding gifts like gas cookers, rice cookers, phones, irons, and many more. The only place to be this Christmas is at Electroland. Visit any of our shops nationwide for your own Triple Bronya treat. Merry Christmas from Electroland.
Merry Christmas from Electroland.
To jama'a ranar Talata ranar 17 na watan Disamba, Electoral Commission na Ghana za ta yi jagoranci zaben District Assembly da Unit Committee daga 17 na safiya zuwa marance 15. Yana da muhimmanci sosai kowa ya sa kansa a cikin wanga al'amari saboda cin gaban unguwa. Hakkin ka ni kuma ka jefa kuriya ka ba wanda kake so. Ranar zaben kuriyan ta kashi 3. Na farko takardar da za a baka shine na referendum. Idan ka zabe kala yellow wato ka yadda kaman a bar political party su kawo mutane a zabe su zuwa ga District Assembly. Idan ka zabe kala brown wato baka yadda ba kaman a bar political party su kawo mutane a zabe su zuwa ga District Assembly. Takarda na biyu wanda za a baka shine na zaben District Assembly wato yafi ka zabe mutum daya kadai a cikin mutanen. Takarda na uku da za a baka shine na Unit Committee, wannan kuma yafi ka zabe mutane 5 kadai a cikin mutanen. Laifi ne a sani fa, laifi ne kaman mutum na shekarunsa bai kai ya jefa kuriya ba ya je yayi kaman yana son ya jefa ko kuwa ya jefa kuriya. Haka kuma laifi ne mutum ya je ya jefa kuriya ya ba wani daban ko da mai shi ya mutu ko da yana raye. A sani fa ranar jefa kuriya na District Assembly da Unit Committee shine rana Talata ranar 17 na watan Disamba daga safiya 17 zuwa marance 15. A sani kuriyanka shine karfinka.
Welcome back to the show, and thank you very much for your time. One message I need to read, though, is this one. It's coming from one of our viewers after he just watched. He says that the role of chieftaincy must be clarified once and for all. He says ceremonial / cultural role of political governance role. He says, is it a ceremonial role, is it a cultural role, or is it a political governance role of a chief? He says chieftaincy positions are by birth. He says, how do we balance that with the need for competence and approval of the ruled through the ballot box? That's an interesting matter that hopefully we can focus on sometime later. Good evening, Mr. Stephen Amoah.
Sorry, good evening.
Why did they call you sticker?
Actually, sticker.
Sticker, like a sticker on the wall.
Yes, but of course, our part of the world, sometimes pronunciations and other things, it has gone through metamorphosis.
Oh, I see. So the original one is sticker.
Yeah, I used to really do chew and pour.
In school?
Yes. And
you could memorize?
Yes, I did this thing on trigonometry.
What's that?
It's something in mathematics.
Oh, you're a mathematics student?
Yeah, I am a science-inclined student, including mathematics. I did. Okay. Yeah. Science.
So at your, I'm guessing you did an A-level. At your A-level, you had mathematics, like elective maths?
No, I did. Yeah, I did maths, biology, and I did maths, physics, chemistry.
Physics, maths, chemistry. Yeah, okay.
But,
okay. So that's very mathematical.
Yeah, very mathematical. So, and then at the university too, I did computer science. But our time, we did mathematics with the maths student for about 3 years.
Oh, 3 whole years?
Yes.
Of the 4-year program?
Yes. That time, I think, I don't know now, but USC was the only school running pure computer science. So you do all the maths with the maths students, and even final year, because my programming wasn't good. So final year I did mathematical economics.
I see.
As an option, and I did masters in strategic financial management. That was finance, and then management. That one to do some maths because you do mathematical finance, and then my PhD too.
Oh, you have done a PhD?
It's like with defense. I finished everything. I finished the seminars and other things.
I see.
In actuarial science, but option mathematical finance and macroeconomics. That's what
that's impressive. Yeah. Actuarial science, the insurance thing.
Yeah, but my option was mathematical finance, including macroeconomics.
That's impressive. Why are you doing that? Which school are you doing that?
KNUST.
Okay.
I'm trying to, Ghana at a certain times. Many a time, treasury bills that is supposed to be risk-free give returns more than risky assets, and that is not done. It's not acceptable anywhere because it means the universal authenticity of all the financial mathematical models for pricing securities and deposits are wrong because it goes the other way around. Under no circumstance should treasury bill give you returns more than risky assets.
I don't understand.
What I'm saying is that if you invest in treasury bills...
Forgive my illiteracy.
No problem. No. In Ghana, sometimes when you invest in treasury bills, T-bills, it gives you like 22%.
Yes.
But when you invest in risky, comparable risky assets or securities from the banks, it gives you 14%.
But that's because government is borrowing.
No. Haven't you heard that the higher the risk?
Yes.
Or the more the risk.
Yes, so the risky should have higher returns.
Exactly.
But the treasury bill have higher returns because government is borrowing.
No, the treasury bills, no matter what, is classified as risk-free. And that is what is incorporated in all the mathematical formulas or financial formulas. So once it happens, it means the formulas that are used globally, including Ghana, do not work. And once that also happens, valuation of financial institutions in Ghana are also wrong. And we integrate that in our GDP. That means that period, the GDP growth that we have is not a real case scenario. I hope you understand.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so
when we record a GDP growth of 8%.
Oh no, it depends on the time.
And we are
anytime we have a period where T-bills are giving returns more than risky assets.
Oh, that's the point you're making.
So
when T-bills, treasury bills are giving returns more than risky assets, the calculation of GDP is bound to be erroneous.
Because of the integration or incorporation of the valuation of the financial institution. Because we are not getting the right valuation.
Okay, so the T-bills will make financial institutions. The T-bills will make financial institutions value better. Is that the
No,
point?
no. You incorporate. It's like
when you incorporate it, doesn't make.
Let me give you this
better?
practical scenario. It's like you have a basket. You're talking about GDP. You put in a lot of things, investment and stuff like that, and then the investment you incorporate financial institution valuation. So you put all together. But because the valuation is not the real case scenario, you understand what I'm saying? It affects the overall.
The
GDP
valuation
growth.
is exaggerated.
Exactly.
Because
when you have
T-bills being higher than risky investments.
What happens because the valuation definitely where the returns occur is the denominator, but because it's giving a figure that is higher in terms of the financial institution, it will give you valuations that is.
Why is it wrong? Why is it wrong when treasury bill rates and returns are higher?
The fact is, if I take risk in investing in a particular asset or portfolio, I have to actually do that.
But
in anticipation
our
of
market is not sophisticated. So where are the risky investments?
We're not talking about market. We're talking about global issues.
Yes, but I mean within Ghana, our market is not that sophisticated.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have
stock
to.
Exchange is so predictable.
Listen, it doesn't.
Reading the same thing every day.
It doesn't have to be sophisticated.
So if it's
anytime you are investing in risk-free assets and risky assets, because you invested in risky assets, there should be a premium to compensate for the risk.
What then qualifies as risky assets in a market like Ghana, which is not a sophisticated market?
T-bills are supposed to be classified. They are government portfolios.
T-bills should be risky?
Yes, because they are government portfolios. In terms of risk, the risk component is smaller or even negligible or irremarkable as compared to risky assets. If I invest, that is
what's a risky asset in Ghana?
Any financial, even EcoBank, risky assets.
So but if I buy shares in EcoBank, that's a risky asset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you buy, it's predictable and not sophisticated, that risk is emasculated.
Let me tell you something.
It's extinguished.
I'm trying to let you understand. I don't want to do too technical with figures and theories and models. But what I'm trying to say is that if you have, say, how do I put it? Say, if you have Stephen Amoah's probably financial institution that have started small, and you come and invest in. If you invest in EcoBank, the risk you are taking investing in my portfolio is higher than EcoBank.
Yeah, I get it.
So it is expected that you get more returns from mine than EcoBank. The same way EcoBank is expected to be more risky or riskier
than Treasury Bill,
which belongs to the government. And anywhere in the world, when you're doing the calculations for returns, there's initialization value. That's the returns you get from T-bills plus a premium. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So if anywhere the market is very efficient and is properly run economy, you realize that if I invest in risky asset A and I'm expecting returns, it should be, maybe if T-bill is 10%, it should be 10% plus another component because of the risk I took. You understand what I'm saying? The risk component, the premium to compensate for my risk that I've taken. So the risk-free, that is initialization value, should not be under any circumstance bigger than if you have to do the right thing.
The investment bankers and the financial analysts will deal with this one.
I've done that. I've run
please
that.
Let them tell me the scoreline of the Real Madrid and Mbappe game, Paris Saint-Germain, so that some people are asking me what the scoreline is on Facebook, and I don't know. Because when we were coming to the studio, I think it was 1-0 in favor of Real Madrid. We don't know the scoreline.
Sorry.
The game has ended now, so 2-0 in favor of 2-2. That's dramatic.
Yeah,
okay.
I think they are two.
Okay, giants. We can show that. Watch out for Metro TV Sports tomorrow. They'll be telling you more about that game. So, Sticker, here we are. There was a news story that broke the other day that you have spent 1.1 million in this matter. I want to ask you to audit 2 million. I want to ask you about that. But your people of the party, your foot soldiers, were particularly excited when you were named as the new MASLOC boss. I'm not sure why, because I thought of you as a leading MPP communicator, and so that your strength was going to be around the communications at the presidency especially, or around the communications at the Ministry of Information. But suddenly they said MASLOC. I understood MASLOC to be a financial institution, and I didn't know all of this, your background. But some of your foot soldiers were particularly excited that if Sika is the one going there, then MASLOC will succeed. How did you start? How did you hit the ground running and all that when you got there?
Thank you. Because you asked the first question, I'll have to answer.
You want that one first?
Yes.
Okay.
Before I answer, I would like to advise Ghanaians that I think it's time we realized that captions and the stories that are found on the net and in newspapers shouldn't be taken as they are. We should go deeper and find out before we comment and insult.
You are blaming
people.
journalists for
I'm blaming
for giving screaming wild headlines.
No, it's not. I'm not blaming them. I'm advising people. I'm not even talking about the headlines. I'm talking about people who
read the headlines,
are easily bought into the headlines and they insult people. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're this, you're a thief, you've done that. I mean, in the first place, it is never true that 1.1 million has been spent on auditing issue whose value is about 2 million. That is not true. It is incorrect. The total amount involved is about 150 million.
Total amount involved in the
yes,
the
it's
audit.
over 150 million.
150 million what? What has happened?
Ghana cedis.
Is it embezzled? Has it been
no,
embezzled?
No. In fact, the audit actually covers 209 January to March 2017.
Oh, the MASLOC has not had an audit since then?
No, it doesn't. They did one which was not forensic, not that comprehensive, because there were a lot of issues.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
So you're doing a full audit of MASLOC activities?
Forensic audit.
Financial activities of MASLOC from 2009
yes.
to March 2017?
Yes.
And the total amount spent within that period?
Not like issues that were being audited. There
okay,
are
so
some of them.
So the suspicion, if I can call it that.
When you're auditing, it's not just a suspicion.
Okay.
You are auditing financial statements from 2009 to
so you're auditing everything. So the entire portfolio,
exactly.
The value of the money that has been transacted.
No, the issues that they were actually,
isolated.
Yes, they were
issues that
on.
were isolated.
For instance, financial statement will have to be audited, whether it reflects the GAAP or the financial standards of the world in terms of presentation.
Yeah.
They also whether they also reflect the actual activity or materiality, and also whether there was adherence to compliance, internal control systems, and other legal components. These were done. And so you have a loan portfolio or debt portfolio of over 67 million.
Debt portfolio.
Yeah,
that
yes,
is the money people are taking from MASLOC that they
are
not paid back.
Exactly.
67 million.
So they were over that, more than that.
Okay.
And then they also audited these vehicle issues. You remember the
GPR
MASLOC
team, vehicles.
That was over 62 million. It was about 62 million over here, thereabout. And then there was an issue that was also about 2,044,700 and I think it's 80 or 50. There was another issue that was about 93,412. So there were plenty, and they did the nationwide. They did head office, and then the 10 regional offices. So if people are lying about these things, it's very.
But is it true that it cost 1.1 million for their fees? Not that it's excessive, but I'm just asking whether the figure is correct.
Yeah, let me tell you. Yes, 1.1, and that forms about 0.7 or 0.8%
of the amount of money they were
auditing. It's even less than 1%
of the money they were auditing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's something.
What is the standard in the market? If you're auditing, what's the standard? Like lawyers receive 5% if it's above 100 million, 10% if it's below.
Lawyers even takes 5%.
Yeah, within a certain range. The Ghana Bar Association approves that.
Normally, the standard, sometimes they charge per hour. The standard
Don't they
one
charge
is 300
upon the money they're auditing?
Yeah, some do. It depends. Some do percentages.
Okay.
I don't have the standard figure. Some also do per hour. Hour, they charge, the standard is I think $300 per hour.
Per hour of this work will be a lot of hours.
You understand what I'm saying? So people don't know. So it's never true that it was 1.1 chasing just 2 million. Then it means 1.1 chasing over 150 million that was being audited. And normally you don't audit simply because of the figure. Audit is done to make sure that going forward we don't lose money.
So you're auditing and putting systems in place at the same time.
Exactly. And apart from that, they were commissioned by Yoko.
The auditors?
Exactly. They were commissioned. The letter, everything is there. And the Yoko stated, they gave guidelines as to what should be done, and we are supposed to pay. And Yoko is like a high court. You know something about me? I'm not perfect. But if I tell you that when I came, this is not about the court case, so I can speak about it. Per diem, and I'm not condemning my predecessor because she was taken. It was a policy that was agreed by then, maybe by the board then, that when she travels outside
the country,
when the CEO, I will even say my
Ghana.
no, outside Greater Accra, per diem was about 5,000 a day,
hey,
excluding transportation.
Say that again.
5,000
5,000 Ghana cedis a day.
Excluding, transportation.
At that time, 5,000 was about $1,700.
You know something?
Per day?
Yes.
So she travels 10 days.
I'm not saying she was doing that.
Or he travels.
Yes,
10
that
days.
was the policy for CU. When I came, go and check what I did.
What did you do?
For myself. Even, I never knew I didn't have the right to change it. And then I changed it at once. My first going around the whole Ghana, all the 10 regions, I was taking 300 a day, excluding transportation.
Why did you change it?
I thought it was too much.
Why do you think it was too much? 5,000 cedis
to me,
for the
it's too much.
chief executive per day, taking the risk going
much.
to all over the country.
Maybe
Ghana is a long country.
Let's go into the main issue, because there's a fact. Why do I have to take that? To me.
So right now, what do you think? What was the standard now?
Oh, the board came. They've made it. I think it's about 2,000 or so.
So you take 2,000 now.
I think 2,000.
So if you do 10 days, you have 20,000, which is fair.
Well, you understand?
And you think 5,000 is excessive.
So you know what? I'm entitled to business class.
That is when you're traveling outside the country?
Yes. Not until the board came. Outside the country, going to do something that is for the country, not for yourself.
Related to MASLOC?
MASLOC, yes. I never ever took business class. Because
Why?
I saw the difference was sometimes $5,000.
Difference between what and what?
Business class, first class, and the economy. So I was taking economy. Even from here to Australia, 24-hour flight, I took economy. The point I want to drum home is that it's not everybody.
But that's populist, isn't it? That's populist.
That's what you think.
Is that not populist?
What I'm saying, no. We have
Why are you doing that?
I'm saying that I think state resources must be prudently managed. That is me.
So has the board upgraded that as well?
No, when they came, they said, I can't do that. It's not within my own discretion.
It's not about yourself. It's about the organization.
So my last trip, yes, I did. But what I'm saying is...
So your last trip, you were in business?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, the first time I took, surprisingly, coincidentally, from, I think, Dubai to Australia or something. I was lucky and I had that chance. That was my first time. I used to travel before university. I never took business.
But did you enjoy it? Would you like to keep it?
Oh, but if I have money, now I'm strong and energetic, I will not.
But if you are 65?
Yeah, if you're 60 going, I think, because if you're traveling, your health condition. The point I'm making is that it's not everybody that is interested in corruption. I can make mistakes, yes. You understand? Even non-compliance, you can make mistakes. Mistakes are there. But it's not somebody. But one thing about this country is people who really want to live genuine life and make sure that state resources are properly used, effectively and efficiently used, they are not encouraged. They are not motivated. They find stories just to tarnish your image, just to discourage you, demotivate you, and get you down. It's not good. It's not everybody that is in politics and is ready and prepared and interested in squandering and wasting state resources. No. I don't think I'm in politics because I want to be rich. I'm not saying when I work, I don't want results, I don't want money. I need to manage my economic life. But the fact of the matter is that people can write. And one thing is, the media guys, when somebody writes something about another person, please, just check from the other side before you publish. A time may come, people will not go to court. They also resort to other alternatives.
Like beating?
I don't know. I would never support anybody beating a media man. That is uncool. That is not, that is to me colloquial, is primitive. It's not right. We need to respect human lives.
But you're saying people will take to other
We
means.
have different people, and things are changing. Because if you use
people have different temperaments.
Listen, if you use paper and console and pen to destroy somebody's life, it can lead to his death.
Yes.
People can go through trauma and die.
Yeah.
The family will suffer. And you hear something about Paul Adom-Otchere, and you not ask Paul Adom-Otchere's side, investigate and know the truth, and you just publish. What are you trying to do? You understand what I'm saying? What are you trying to do? And it's very risky. You can't keep on doing that every day. The person may not have gotten money to go to court, may not have gotten the time resource to go to court. He resort to other things to also manage and protect and defend. There's natural inertia in everyone, even the ant. You know natural inertia?
Yes.
Yes. The inbuilt, the inherent, that instinctive
the defensive mechanism.
Exactly. So I'm begging, we need to live in a society that we all do our part right to collectively derive the needed synergies and build this country. Because one thing that is destroying the continent Africa, to me, is corruption. And I hate it. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I hate it. And
what's happening in court?
Oh, I'm not a legal practitioner. I don't want to Not that I'm afraid of what.
But are you a witness in the matter?
Yes, I am.
So have you spoken in the court?
Yeah, I'm done with my witnesses.
Okay.
And then sometimes the media change the stories, and I'm not interested in those things. You can lie and say whatever you want, but one thing I believe, Paul, in my life, that there's always God. I'm a sinner, but I believe there's God. No matter what.
Everyone is a sinner, isn't it?
Yes, but no matter what you do.
What's your favorite sin?
Why do you want to ask this?
Your pet sin. You said you're a sinner.
Why do you want to ask this?
You don't have to answer it. We can go on without it.
I think I wouldn't want to talk about
But
I'm not
remembering your pet sin is making you laugh. So I'm wondering what the pet sin is that is making you laugh.
I'm not perfect.
I don't know whether you and I have the same pet sin. I hope it's not the same.
I don't know yours.
Neither do I know
But I'm
yours.
not perfect.
Okay.
But I'm somebody.
But you can't tell us your pet
I'm somebody I believe strongly in God. Everything about me is about God. I'm telling you, I believe. People think there is no God, but I mean, it works for me. Practically, I've had encounter with God. I've experienced God. I mean, that is me. I'm telling you.
You pay your tithe?
When sometimes I make mistake in paying, and sometimes I don't pay. I'm being honest with you.
But you want to pay. Your desire is to pay.
Yeah. I really want to pay. Okay. I spend and help God's work. But tithe sometimes, I don't know. I'm of the view that some of us that are having monthly salaries, they should let us sign post-dated checks. Because
for the tithe? Yeah,
because politics, by the time you realize, Paul, all the money is gone even before you go.
The constituency has come for it.
Not just the constituency, the entire nation. You have friends, you have people are in need. You know, greater number of the people are at the bottom of the social stratification. They don't really have enough. And we need to help. I'm a benevolent, to those who know me. I can't see people suffering and I keep my money. So I spend, and me, myself, I don't have money. So these
Your
are
wife
the
doesn't
things.
complain?
I'm not married.
Oh, you are not married?
Why you, please?
Oh, no, sorry about that.
It doesn't matter.
You're not married? Oh, that's interesting.
No, I'm not married.
Are you dating?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to get married soon?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll all be at the wedding?
Yes.
It will be a Christian wedding?
Of course, I'm a Christian.
Okay, let's move on with MASLOC.
But I'm not perfect.
Forgive my external and extraneous activities and asking all of those questions. It's just to keep you awake a little bit so that you don't sleep, because we have important matters we are coming to. Now, tell me, how many women have you given loans to at MASLOC in terms of man-woman relationship?
We've done, I don't have the figure, but we've done about, because it's ongoing, it's a process. Sometimes you quote one figure, the next day it goes up.
Yeah.
But at present, we've done.
You submitted something to Parliament, which I've seen.
Yeah, that was about 60-something thousand.
60.
But now, when we check, the latest one is over 70.
You've given 70,000 people loans.
As of now, yes. And
since you took over?
Yeah, about 73% constitute women.
Oh, that's impressive.
And you know the president's policy was 50%.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that we attain that and even beyond.
So of the 70,000, 73% of them are women.
Yes.
Which region have you given the most? Do you know?
I must be frank. I think Ashanti region.
Ashanti region. You give Ashanti region the most.
So, yes. In terms of cash. In terms of cash, but in terms of vehicle cars, I think it's Northern and Greater Accra.
Oh, in terms of vehicles,
cars, yes.
Northern and Greater, but cash you've given.
Cash.
So how does MASLOC operate? So if I'm a young man, I finish university, is MASLOC important to me?
Very. You know something? Let me say.
What's the full name of MASLOC?
Microfinance and Small Loan Center.
People don't know that. Microfinance
and Small Loans
and Small Loan Center. So it's almost like a bank.
Yeah, it's a bank. It's a bank that takes
what license level? Is it
microfinance?
Microfinance license level, okay. But it belongs to government?
Yes.
100%?
Yes.
Okay.
And you ask me how important it is. Trust me, in any developing economy, it's supposed to be the most important institution. Do you know why? I want to be as practical as possible so that I wouldn't use a lot of terminologies. Forgive me. Have you asked yourself, why is that when NDC and NPP are in power and they tout themselves, their achievements, the macroeconomic indicator, the primary macro indicators, inflationary rate, this and that, what is one thing that most of the times Ghanaians say?
We don't have money in our pocket.
Thank you. Have we found out why? You know, most of the times we are not able to solve our problems on the continent because these things just go. We don't research. We don't find out how do we solve those problems. The fact is that greater part of our market is the defensive type. All over the world, we have two main categories of market. We have the defensive and the aggressive. In finance or investment, we call something systematic risk index. That determines the correlation between your market, how the companies grow, and how the economy grows. When your market is basically or profoundly or predominantly defensive, the systematic risk index is less than 1. And what it means is that when the economy moves 10%, they move sluggishly, they don't move at all. So when even the economy at the bigger picture is doing very well, because our market is the defensive type, and we move slowly towards that, people don't feel it readily. It takes a long time. And most of the financial institutions are the aggressive type in Ghanaian context.